Yes, Tashi, do you have any question? Because I see you are raising hand. No, okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Let's start our session for today. So I would like to welcome you all to our last day of mobile application development for environmental sustainability and disaster risk reduction training. So today's session will be an interview session with a female IT practitioner. So we have here today Miss Steffi Melinda as our inspiring speaker. She is head of competitive intelligence or data science at Delivery Hero, Germany. I would like to welcome you, Miss Steffi, and she is also a co-founder of Mastara. In today's session, we have prepared several questions to be answered by our speaker. And the discussion with all the participants will be at the end of our interview. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand or write down on the chat box. And we will pick 5 to 7 questions, okay? So before we start with our interview, I would like to give a chance to Miss Steffi to introduce herself. Please, Miss Steffi.
Okay, hi everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me just quickly share my screen. And can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so I'll just go ahead then. Yeah, so yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I also thanks Maya for this opportunity. I'm really glad to have the time to share with you what it's like to be a female in computer science. It won't be a formal one, so feel free to ask any questions that you like. Don't be shy. I also would encourage everyone to ask anything. Don't feel that your question is a stupid question. There's no such thing as stupid question. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Steffi. As Maya has introduced, I'm co-founder of Mastara. What is Mastara? Mastara is a foundation that I and my friend created since a year ago. It is a mentoring program for women, so for female students who are in the end of the year of their university, or also like the first early years of the university, and those that are already graduated, those that are looking for jobs. We are helping you. So we connect you with women professionals in any fields. Actually, it's not only in IT, but also in other fields. And we connect you with the women professionals to help coach you, to help prep your CV, prep your job applications, also prep your interviews. So you have much more insights on what was wrong or what can be improved to increase your chance to get employed. Apart from that, I'm also advocating people to get the scholarships for their masters. So a lot of mentees that reach me out, ask for help to improve their motivation letters, or to find out what is the right time and the right subjects for them to study on their master's program. So yeah, I'm really glad to help people out. So after the session, if you have any question around that, feel free to reach me out. On my day-to-day job, on my full-time job, I'm right now a senior manager of data at Delivery Hero in data science and analytics field. So I can briefly introduce what is Delivery Hero. Delivery Hero is a food and groceries delivery company. In some of the countries, you might find these brands. We have a lot of brands. In Singapore, we have Food Panda. In many other countries, we have different brands, as you can see here. And basically, the business itself, as you know, it's a food delivery and groceries delivery. And then this is Mustara. So one of the programs I've already mentioned, which is the 7-week mentorship program. There's also a one-on-one session that you can just independently book without having to join the mentorship program. And then there's also Mustara English Conversation Club, which is kind of like a speakeasy club. So in case you want to improve your English, especially nowadays, there are a lot of jobs that require you to speak English all the time. So I'm here, and also a lot of women professionals here are willing to help. Unfortunately, Mastara, the vision of Mastara is actually to make the opportunity for women equal, and it's currently only in Indonesia because most of the network that we have are in Indonesia. So yeah, in case you are interested to know how it works and how to connect with those people, let me know. So briefly about my background, I studied bachelor in computer science in Universitas Indonesia. That's actually where I met Maya here as well. And then afterwards, I spent 2 years working at PwC Indonesia as IT auditor. So it's totally not related to computer science, I would say. It's more of a information system field, but still it helps a lot in terms of building soft skills, in terms of giving me business acumen, and those things, those experience that I learned, those experience that I get, and those skills that I learned are still really helpful up until now, where I already have worked for more than 9 years. And after my experience in PwC, I decided to continue master's program in business intelligence. At that time, it was called business intelligence. Some of you might know it's called data warehousing. And then basically, right now, a lot of people know about data science. So the field of business intelligence and data science are really close to each other. And that's basically what I learned during my 2-year program in 3 different countries. So in Germany, in France, and in Belgium. This is Erasmus Mundus program, which is like a joint master degree program that is arranged by European Union, European Union countries, and I'm lucky enough to get the scholarship during those study. Afterwards, I decided to work more in Germany, but I also had the chance to join summer internship in Traveloka. Back then, Traveloka was still a very small company, a startup, and yeah, I'm really happy to meet a lot of great minds there. And then in Germany, I spent now more than 7 years working in different companies, Market Logic Software, in Bonial, and in Delivery Hero, mostly as a technical consultant, as a product owner, as a team lead of data analytics. And now I manage a team of 6 people consisting of data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Sorry for taking a lot of time to introduce myself. I hope this is fine.
Okay, thank you, Steffi, for introducing yourself. So let's begin our interview. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's begin with the question: how you describe yourself as a female in computer science?
All right, so basically, I would consider myself as someone who is lucky enough to get a lot of guidance from different people. Back then, when I started my career or my decision to study computer science, it was still new. Nobody know in my family, in my friend and surroundings. Nobody knew what kind of job would it entail, what kind of study would it be. What I know is that a lot of people who influences me a lot, like teachers and seniors, they said that if you are interested in the future, that's where it is. So that's how I started my career as a computer science. And what I can say right now, after almost 10 years working in computer science field, is that it is really exciting. It's constantly evolving, and there's no such thing as getting bored, because there's every day you wake up with something new, some new technology or new problem to solve or new challenge or new innovation. So it's really cool. And as a female, it's also really interesting, because a lot of people have stereotype that computer science is a field where a lot of male dominated work. Actually, for me as a female, I see this as a benefit, because people might not see that you are also capable of working in computer science. So you get actually a lot of help when you ask for it. So I myself, as I said, I like to ask questions at the beginning, and there's no such thing as stupid questions, and that's where that's how I grew until now. I ask a lot of questions to different people. I try to find things out myself and try to learn new things every day.
All right. For the second question, okay, did you choose computer science or computer science choose you?
Yeah, I already answered this before. So I choose computer science. The reason being, when I finish my high school, or about to finish my high school, there was this counseling teacher who gave us like a test, I don't know how to call it in English, but it's like a test to find out our interest and our skills, and what kind of profession that it might be interesting for us, or what kind of subject that would be fitting to our interest at the time. And the result was that I am really interested in logical thinking, in logical problems, but I'm not so strong in memorizing things. Also, at that time, I'm really interested in mathematics. So that's how I kind of skew things up into, like, okay, these are the top three choices. The field that I like is using mathematics or applied mathematics, but also doesn't require me to memorize things so much and use logical thinking most of the time. And there are only a few fields that are using those, so that's why I choose computer science.
Okay, the next question, what are to be considered before choosing computer science as your choice? Or maybe you can give some advice to the participants, what they need to be considered before choosing computer science, if it is their passion on that.
Okay. Yeah, I briefly also mentioned that the reason I choose computer science was because there was a skill, right? So you have the skill to think logically or to work in mathematical problems, and then you have the interest to actually basically in computer science field, you need to learn a lot of things, and that's a given. It's like very normal that you need to deal with something that you don't know how to solve it, or how, or what is that even, because things are always new every time. So you need to have the interest. Basically what I did, I also was really interested in computer subjects like back then we deal with Excel, we deal with Pascal programming, we deal with even just browsing things on the internet. I was really keen on that. Or if you are, some of my friends, for example, they're really interested in playing mobile games or uh or other games, right? And then actually he ended up becoming game developer after the study. So you need to have the interest as well. And the third thing is to look into the future. What are the fields that are are going to grow in the future? What are the problems that needs to be solved in the future? For example, nowadays you can already see a lot of countries or a lot of institutions are dealing with cybersecurity problems. And I think that will remain a challenge in the future. So this is something that you need to find out. Are you interested in solving those? What kind of knowledge that you would like to learn? So this is something that you can consider before you choose computer science, because this is a field that constantly evolving. It requires you to continuously learning and keeping up. Even for someone like me and Maya, who already work in this field for more than 10 years, we still need to learn things every day. So yeah, this is the given.
So if I can sum up, that the first thing that we need to consider is we need to improve our logical math, as you said before, and then we need to keep up with the technologies, right, and the current technologies. So the next question is it important to have programming skill at least when we need to choose, when we consider computer science as our option for major?
Okay, I can share my own experience. When I choose computer science as a subject, I started with zero knowledge of programming at all. So the first year, I felt that I was really overwhelmed. But also, what drives me further to learn programming skill is that is the most important skill you would need to that is like the basic or the foundation of everything else that could continues afterwards, like the next years, the second year and the third, and also of course like the final year for your thesis. No matter what kind of profession you would have, for example, you don't want to be a software engineer or you want to be a software engineer, obviously programming skill is like the main thing. But if you don't want to be a software engineer, programming skill is still very important to have, because linking to the what I mentioned before, in the future, if you don't have programming skill, there might be there might be less jobs that you can apply for, because you can read a lot of news and a lot of projections in the future that jobs are being replaced by automation. So if you don't have programming skills, or if you don't have computer science knowledge at least, it will be hard to find a job in the future. So it is very important to have the skill at the time that you graduated or at the time that you studied in computer science. But when you start, it's totally fine to not have programming skills. In the future, you would see a lot of countries or a lot of schools gave programming subjects to the students, to the high school students, or even to primary school students, because this will be like the main one of the main foundation for people to work to further use the skills for many different things. So it is very important to have, but when you start, it's totally fine. You don't have. And what drives me to work further is that the first year I spent a lot of time learning, practicing programming, and then also talk to friends who knows how to solve things or who has the same challenge, and then we learn together, or even to our teaching assistants or to the seniors who can help to motivate you or to coach you. What helps as well is that actually some of the teacher or some of the professors were really fun in teaching programming. So I was really amazed by a lot of professors that taught me back then, and they still are a role model for me until now. So yeah, so to don't be discouraged that if you don't have a programming skills now, you want to start computer science. It's totally fine, and it's also fine when you start in your first days learning computer science. You would see a lot of people might already have programming skills. Don't be discouraged because you can keep up with that. It's fine.
All right. So, as if I can conclude that if you don't have programming skill and your desire is to choose computer science as your major, it's totally okay. And Steffi also mentioned that she started the computer science skill from zero, and you can see that how can she be now. She already work at top companies in the world, as we can say, right? So don't worry if you don't have programming skill when you need to choose computer science. So the next question is, what is the biggest challenge you experience in computer science life? Maybe you can start when you were in college and at work and etc.
During college, one of the biggest challenge is to keep up with a lot of assignments during our I had the target to finish the bachelor studies in 3.5 years, but also it was really overwhelming because there were a lot of assignments in between, group assignments, individual assignments. On top of that, we have exams twice per semester, right? So a lot of these responsibilities, and what I see is that, or what motivates me is that these assignments are something that I treat as day-to-day problem that needs to be solved. Because once you get to the work environment, there's no fixed timing around what can be solved and what not. It sometimes you have a fixed deadline, but most of the times you also need to push yourself further to keep up with the deadlines, or to innovate, or to find your a new problem to be solved, which is usually a day-to-day problem. And that's where you see right now a lot of tech companies are growing because they solve day-to-day problems. uh, as a female, one of my challenge during work is, or before work itself, is that applying for jobs, sometimes people have the prejudice or the stereotype that women can't do or can't work in a technical field, which is wrong, obviously, and that sometimes discourage a lot of people. I also experienced myself firsthand that I deal with a couple of managers back then that didn't expect that I could do a lot of technical work, like programming, doing code review, doing creating my own module in in one of the programs that we created, or reviewing other developers code, right? This is something that can be a blocker for me as a female during my career. And so what I did was I just proved them wrong. I tried to um, find opportunities for me to take on assignments or tasks that are quite technical, and then I proved that I can do it. Obviously, sometimes you can't do things yourself just by yourself, but like you need some help, and that's totally fine because also the male colleagues does that, right? So what I did was, okay, I tried to have a regular touch points with the I wouldn't say mentor at the time, but right now I would say he was like a mentor to me. And basically what I did was I keep progressing. I keep making progress and trying to find out things myself before I meet the person and ask questions. So then at the end of the project, basically I can deliver what was um being asked for, and what the things that they didn't expect me to be able to do. So as a result, actually all these projects that I did became a portfolio for me, and those are one of the things that speeds up my career and promotes me into a manager position right now. So yeah, I felt that I was quite lucky, but also at the same time, I have the I would say rebellious feeling that I want to prove them wrong. I want to prove people that, look, even though I'm a female, I can solve this challenge. I can work on technical fields. So I would say that remains a challenge up until now, and I hope in the future those challenges will decrease in terms of there's a lot of women community out there. There's a lot of computer uh, community out there as well, also for non-female, right? And I think it's something that all of us needs to help each other to solve. Yeah, so I hope I'm clear with the question.
Yeah, as I experienced during the college, the biggest challenge is to keeping up with those assignments, and then some examinations, and then for me is when I start with zero, so I need to have time to learn deeper and more for that subject matter, right? And then now we have another question. What are the fun things? The previous question about the challenge. Now, what are the fun things you experience as a computer science female, especially as female?
Working in a maybe first working in a computer science field, what are the fun things? Obviously you work with new technologies, new tools. I remember back then AI was still very abstract to most of us. We just know that, okay, we grew up watching cartoons like Jetsons, or some movies around robots, and we always imagine AI is robot. But I mean, nowadays you see, right, AI is everywhere in our daily lives. Like, for example, yeah, our like iPhones has assistant and so on. There are many things, that actually use AI. And then there are fields like computer vision, or there are fields like augmented reality, and those are the things that are really fun if you deal with those, because also like working on those topics in a when it's still in the incubation period, you feel like you know something that is more modern, or you know something that other people doesn't know, right? So more something that's more sophisticated. That's one of the things that are fun for me working in computer science. The other thing was there are a lot of events like hackathons, meetups, conferences, and usually you get to meet people who are in the same who has the same interests, or who are in the same phase as you when it comes to learning. So these are really fun, because then you get to meet people who you thought they're uh, like, you always think that computer people who work in computer science are nerds. Actually, no. I met a lot of people who are really cool as well, and they don't look like nerds at all. So yeah, so this is one of the fun thing as well. As a female, what are the fun things? I get used to staying in a room, or being in a room or team where I'm the only female, and that means sometimes I get privilege, like, oh, ladies first, or things like yeah they um because they try to understand the point of view of female as well, in when we are doing brainstorming, or when we are um trying to innovate on a certain product. This is really fun for me to experience this. I'm sure there are much more that I can tell. Also, like, I mean, traveling around the world is something that I think part of my basically I wouldn't be able to travel a lot to a lot of countries in Europe for free if it wasn't because of the scholarship, and it wasn't because of the computer science field that I took. So ultimately, I think there are a lot more fun things that I've experienced in my life as a computer science female. But I think generally, these are the three things. So first, working with things that other people don't know, so new things, working with, let's say, state of the art, or even like more modern, sophisticated technology. Also, for me, working in data field, there was a chance, there was an experience where I need to work on a very sensitive data, and only C-level knows about this. So I felt really honored when I need to present the findings in front of a CEO. And basically these findings become something that you observe, that is something that they use and they believe to make decision, to make further decisions. So I felt really honored to have that opportunity. So I think first you work on things that are really new, or really secret, or really unique compared to other people. And the second thing is that you get to meet a lot of people in the community, female, non-female, that are are having the same interests, or facing the same problems with you. I hope this also shares some of my experience.
Okay. The next is, how do you overcome? Because you mentioned that one of biggest challenge in computer science life is to face the gender stereotype for women in IT. So how do you overcome this gender stereotype, or how you fit in yourself with predominantly male environment?
Mm-hmm. So I mentioned briefly that I like to prove people wrong about the stereotype, and how I came upon that decision was I also tried to find allies. Basically, I tried to find other women who are also working in IT. I also try to find male allies, so male colleagues that are that can relate to the problem or actually share the problem, and ask them like, do they see the same problem or what do they think about it? So a lot of these conversations, like exchanging thoughts, exchanging I would say feeling as well, um, becomes really helpful because not only on the women's side that we know we need to work on things or we need to express our things better. For example, a lot of women face this stereotype or challenges, and then they become less confident, right? I think this is one of the things that women need to work on. Basically, we need to be more confident in what we can do. So we need to believe in ourselves. And then from the male colleagues, once I share, let's say, oh, did you remember the situation? What do you think about that? They express their thoughts like, oh, I didn't think that it was against you, it was mainly because this is how we do it, right? So then once you share that, oh, this is how I feel, blah blah blah, they become more aware, and they will try to like give you the chance to speak up, or give you the chance um, to also get the technical projects that you wanted to work on, and so on. So yeah, I felt that you need to find allies, you need to find also other female colleagues or female working in IT, and try to support each other. And then basically prove them wrong. Work harder on basically solving the problems that they think you can't do, but also believe in yourself. That's the main thing.
All right. Regarding this question about gender stereotype, have you experienced this gender stereotype in your working environment?
Yeah. So when you apply for a job, um, during like even to just get an interview, sometimes it's really hard. And that's something that I can't influence, right? But when I did the interview, and then people ask questions around, oh, basically they think of your skills that are very shallow, then I try to give a deeper jargons or deeper um, explanation about what I did, and then they become amazed, right? Because they didn't think that I could do that, or did I understand that. For example, a lot of the things that I need to prove is around machine learning because that's my field, right? And I need to explain what does this algorithm mean, so or how does this algorithm work. So yeah, so basically I try to explain it like when I was teaching as a teaching assistant at the university, and then that's when they think that's when they realize that, okay, I understand what I have to do. And then, for example, another thing was another example that I already mentioned. There is a project around creating a component in the search engine, and then the managers actually think that there are other developer or male developers who are more fitting in this field. Also in this project, so they didn't want to give it to me, but I told that look, I would like to take over this project, and I will prove that I can do this, working hand in hand with this male colleague. That's fine. So then that was the at the end of the project, that was the result, right? That I can finish the project in time, and they also see that, okay, actually I did it well, and they also think that, okay, I deserve a promotion. There was actually a time where, speaking about gender stereotype, there was actually a time where I was the only like I was the only female in the team, and I'm the team lead of the team. So I have all my subordinates were male, and there was one male that male colleague that thought that, yeah, I'm still new. I don't know what I'm doing, and so on. So we had a little bit of conflict at the beginning, but then this person, along the time, of course, like I work on conflict resolution and so on, and also try to have this conversation that I told you about, and then yeah, at the end of the time, I would say it's like around a few months, uh, the person finally realized that, okay, I'm qualified to be his manager as well. So yeah, you will face a lot of these problems, I'm sure, and different people have different experience, right? But those are my experience so far.
That's very cool experience, I think, because you prove yourself you can do better than that male colleague. The next question, I think we have last two questions. Have you ever considered living computer science life? Because there are a lot of challenges you face, right? Have you ever considered living computer science life?
Uh, Actually, not at all. I know, yeah, the challenges sometimes can be overwhelming, especially as a woman. Let's say, once you start thinking about starting a family or so on, uh, or even like think other things in life that could overwhelm you. Um, because if you stay in computer science, you need to keep up, right? You need to spend some time to learn new things. Even when you work, let's say 8 to 5, 9 to 6, on top of the working hours, you still need to like spend a couple of hours to read some stuff or to practice programming and so on, to stay relevant, basically. And this is something that could be a challenge for people who has different responsibility outside of work. Um, but I do feel, actually, um, those are something that becomes my strength, or let's say my habit, because now I know that I would be fine. Like if the let's say if the job market changes, I would be one of the early adopters who knows that, okay, these are the fields that could be the next challenge. So I would say, even though you are not working as a software engineer, you still need to have some of the skills that computer science give. For example, computer science is actually a foundation to many things, to problem solving. So what kind of problem you solve, even if it's a business problem or economic problem, or it's a biology problem, or it's a environmental science problem, you can solve it using the thinking, the way of thinking of computer science. Like basically, I have a friend who works in environmental science. He studied he until he graded from his PhD. On his PhD thesis, he needed to learn about genetic algorithm, because that is something that helps his experiment, and also that is where his field can work with a lot of data, and can find the right conclusion. So a lot of these simulations needs to be done, and that's how he needs to learn about genetic algorithm. Back then, when I studied computer science and bachelor, I didn't know that genetic algorithm would be that important nowadays. But you will see, like talk. I would suggest to talk to a lot of people in different fields, and ask them what kind of problem are they having right now, and how they think technology can solve, or how they think computer science can solve that. A lot of these fields nowadays, research fields, biology, environmental science, physics, and so on, chemistry, they also require a little bit of programming skills or even like algorithms to uh, help them in creating their experiments and so on. And then for the business fields as well, I studied business intelligence, right? So I found a lot of colleagues who didn't study computer science before now having to join boot camps or having to join different courses because they need to keep up, they need to learn about how to program or how to make a Python script to be able to deal with the data or to be able to work and continue with their field. So, for example, if you are into investments, nowadays there are a lot of robot investments, right? And then a lot of things. Yeah, like a lot of fields, I would say health as well. Now health tech become also like one of the lingo around. So I see the opposite. I see that I cannot imagine my life now if I didn't study computer science before. So I see a different things. I wouldn't be able to imagine if I leave computer science. Yeah, I don't know what will I do, basically.
All right. I think this is the last question for this interview before we start our discussion session. What advices would you give, especially for a woman who interested in computer science? Or you can speak in general, but especially for you women.
Yeah, I think the advices that I give would be, there are three advices, and it would be more relevant for women, but also for everyone. First is stay motivated and stay confident. So no matter what people say about you, or remember what people think about you, you are living your own life and you know your own skills. So you should be confident. You should be proud of yourself. The second thing is stay relevant. So keep up, continue learning, no matter what. At the end, no matter what field you work on, or you decided to study on. Don't let the uh, don't let anyone limit your curiosity. So even if you, let's say, decided, oh, I want to learn civil engineering, that doesn't stop you to learn also programming, or that doesn't also stop you to learn about machine learning, for example. So you, nowadays knowledge are everywhere, and you can get this knowledge without having to um, study in that particular subject. Same goes when you study computer science. Don't limit yourself to just study on computer science. So what I experienced is that when I graduated from bachelor, I didn't know what topics I would like to specialize on. I didn't know that I want to specialize in data science back then. What I know is that I know how to operate with the tools, so computer science becomes the foundation for me. I know how to use it to solve problems, but I don't know what problem to solve. So then I need to learn about business, and that's how I started my career working in a more closer to business field, closer to financial topics. So yeah, keep up, stay relevant, and then let your curiosity run. And then the third thing is that practice makes perfect. So as I mentioned before at the beginning, you don't have to have the programming skill at the beginning. But this is something that you should continue learning and practicing until you become better. I can share from my experience that on my first year, I also didn't really uh, like programming, but along the way, I become more confident uh, to solve things, or to work on things that utilize my programming skills. I wouldn't say that I'm really great at programming. Uh, up until now, I still need to learn, or I still need to check how to make it better or how to make a more optimized solution. But at the end of the day, if you know how to utilize it and you try to practice, it becomes perfect. So these are the three advices. So first, stay confident. Second, keep up to stay relevant. And the third, practice makes perfect.
All right, that's a very great advice from Steffi. The first one, you need to stay confident no matter what people think, what you want to do, and then you need to stay relevant to continue learning on your passion, maybe, and don't let anyone to limit your curiosity. Maybe if you major in field aside of computer science, it doesn't limit your curiosity to learn about programming or any computer science things. And the last thing is to practice, because practice makes perfect. So that is the end. That is the last session of our interview for today. Now let's begin with the question and answer session. We have here several questions. The first one is we mentioned about the gender stereotype things. Now we have a question about what do you think about having a family as a successful woman in your industry? People often have stereotypes in which they believe that women who are successful don't have time for a family. So this question is from Tanzin. He was wondering, what do you think about this stereotype about having a family as a successful woman?
Yeah. Okay. I can share my own experience. So it is. I would say it is challenging, yes, to split the time between having a family and excelling at your job. That's for sure. But that's also for everyone, not only for people working in computer science and also not only for male and not only for female but also for male. But I think for the stereotype is there that having a family means more responsibility for the female rather than for the male. What I can share from my experience is that try to find the right support system for you. So basically find the partner that, so your boyfriend or husband, that totally understands what you want and share what you expect in a family. How do you split the responsibility between each other? For example, I split the house chores with my husband. So basically, he likes to cook, so he does cooking. I do something else, something like that. So a lot of these things save time for you, and then also make sure that your partner supports you in terms of if you want to stay working when you start a family. This is not a, let's say, a blocker for you. So your partner or your husband won't like say, oh, you shouldn't work, you should take care of the kids, something like that. So yeah, find the right support system for you, also for your family. So if your siblings and your parents or your people who are close to you, they need to be able to support you as well in terms of motivating you or hearing about you, or trying to help you exchange ideas, or even to just help you take care of or help to remind you. For example, my parents likes to remind me to take care of my health because when I work, I really am into the work, and I forgot that, oh, it's a eating time now, it's dinner time, or it's lunchtime, or oh, don't forget to sleep enough, because sleep is like one of the one of the things that you need to key habit that you need to keep. Otherwise you won't be able to think clearly, or you won't be able to solve problems in the future. So even to have people who reminds you constantly to take care of yourself, that's already a good support system. So the third thing is that you yourself needs to have a plan, basically manage your time, in the sense that, okay, if you know that your job demands you to be on your work from Monday till Friday, then set this expectation. Okay, Monday till Friday, I only have, let's say, 1 or 2 hours for my break, for lunch, dinner, whatever, and then 1 hour for my own, let's say, time, my me time. No matter what you do, right? You can do sports, you can read books, you can watch TV, whatever you want. And then the rest of the time I would dedicate for work. Then how many hours can you spend for your family, right? So set this expectation. And then on Saturday and Sunday, okay, you again make the plan. Like, I don't have to focus on work, I have to focus on my family, but maybe I want to spend a couple of hours, like the smaller portion, for my preparation for the next week, something like that, right? So have a very good time management and have a plan to split the responsibilities between you and your support system.
All right. So the time management and to split time with family is important to make your life as computer science balance, right? So we have another question is here about the programming things. Maybe we can sum up some question. This is, how long did it take for you to master all the skills of programming? And then would you consider yourself as a programmer if you are best in just one language? And the last one about that programming skill is maybe you can give tips on what to do when you lose motivation when working on programming skills.
Okay. So how long did it take me to master the skill? Sorry, I hear echo, so maybe
maybe that's from me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So how long did it take me to master the skills of programming? I would say the first time I learned a new paradigm, it's difficult. It took more than a year. But then afterwards, the next language that use the same paradigm becomes easier, because you can try to make it similar. For example, the first semester on our foundational programming course, we learned C++, which is actually a scripting language, but also already have a little bit of object-oriented, but it's not as much as Java. Then the second semester, I think it was the second semester, we learned object-oriented programming, and it was in Java. So it's not like we forget about the first language that we learned. We know how to use C++. We learn from it. That's the first language we use for programming. And then the second language becomes Java. Then you use some of the knowledge that you know. Okay, in C++, we have this concept about class. We have this concept about inheritance. We have the same in Java. And then now you know, okay, these two languages are actually object-oriented. So the third language, whatever that is, that use object-oriented programming would be quite similar, right? They have the same concept. So that's what I mean. But then the third or the fourth semester, you face a challenge. Oh, there's another paradigm of programming called functional programming. That's a totally different world, right? So then that's where it becomes more challenging for me to learn. Right now, I still am not an expert in that field, because I don't use that. But for example, nowadays in my work life, I don't use Java anymore. I don't use C++ anymore. I use Python. Python is a scripting language, right? So it doesn't have this a lot of these concepts about inheritance and so on, but it has different way of using libraries. So it's much more simple in terms of learning. So and there's a lot of resources about Python, so it becomes faster for me to learn. Also because I already have previous experience dealing with different programming language. So I would say the first time you learn a new paradigm, it would take long. Like for me, it was more than a year, but for the others can be faster. I don't know, can be longer. It's fine. That's totally fine. But then the second and the third time you deal with similar languages, it becomes easier, way easier. And that answers to the second question. Would you consider yourself as a programmer if you're best in only one language? I would say yes, because there's as a programmer, you don't have to master a lot of languages. You just need to master one language and you can use it well. You can use it to solve problems. You can use it to create your own program. Then you're already a programmer. So on my field right now, on the data science field, you either use R or use Python. There's also like languages like Scala, for example, for like data engineering problems. But I don't I'm not a master of Scala. I just know how to a little bit about it, but I don't use it day to day. And I don't need to use it right now. Maybe in the future I would need to use it, so then I need to learn about it. But yeah, I would still consider myself already a programmer because I can solve the same problem by creating a program using Python. At the end of the day, what people see or what benefits you is that you can solve the problem no matter how, right? No matter if it's like using Python or using R or using Java or using C++ or using other language. But if the output is the same and the behavior of the program is the same, then you're already solving the problem. So then what defines you as a programmer? You can solve a problem using a program or create by creating a program. And then what tips can I give to someone who loses motivation working on programming skills? Give yourself a break. It's fine to have some time like off from programming and try to learn new things. Like for example, there was a time I also felt like maybe a little bit of burnt out from work, and what I did was I learned completely different things. Like um, I learned about finance. It has nothing to do with programming, and then basically I learned, oh, okay, this is a field that I'm interested in as well. Yeah, on top of programming, but I don't have to. So during those me time that I mentioned before, I don't have to deal with programming problems. Uh, but it will come naturally at some point that it will come back to you. Okay, I would like to work on programming again. So give yourself a break. That's fine. Maybe set some time off. Let's say the next 2 months or the next 3 months. I don't want to work on my programming skills anymore. It will stay. Maybe you will forget about it if you don't practice or you don't use it day to day. But give yourself a break, work on other topics, and then when you set the time is up. Let's say 3 months is up. Come back, check again. What's your ability on the programming side? Like where does your skill go? Because if you need it for your day to day job, then you need to make sure that you can still do the job well, or you can stay relevant for the future. So come back to it and you can keep it up later, or you can you can practice again at some point. But I would say to stay motivated, don't push yourself too much. Just give yourself a break and maybe learn new things, actually it will come back that, oh, okay, I can now combine the finance knowledge that I have and programming skills that I have, and I can try to solve this mini project that I want using this programming skills. So I see a lot of people grow this way as well, like people who are interested in, let's say, completely different things, let's say biology, or even just about social problems, like I want to make sure that when I host someone, I cook food that combines that ensures that nobody is allergic to the food, right? So then you learn about food, you learn about the composition about food, you learn about how to cook the food. So I like these things, like, okay, I just cook, I just try new recipes and so on. And then after a few months you will think, oh, maybe I can make an app that can help me decide what menu I should create based on the people that I invited through this allergy list that you have, right? So these are things that will come naturally at some point. But I would say there was a time where give yourself a time where you don't have to work on the programming part, but maybe explore new things, explore the domain itself. That's it.
All right. Still related to programming, I think you have answered this, which programming language we have to focus. You answered that we need to master just one programming language, and we can explore more when we use another language, right? So another question is, any suggestion on rank of programming language, and which is the best programming language and application if you want to make an application? Which programming language?
Well, I'm not the expert of this. I would say right now it depends on where the application is based. If it's a mobile application, then obviously you need to understand how the native application works. Like, so in Android, it will be like, yeah, native Android or Java. And then on iOS, it will be like the iOS language, right? But if it's like a web application or web-based application that can be accessed through mobile, that's a different topic. Then it will be like, can be Node.js, can be Vue, can be Ruby, can be anything. It really depends on how you plan to use the language. So most of the time in the industry or in the work field, you would need to decide the language together with the other developers, because it depends on what use case you want to solve. So sometimes people need to switch from one language to the other, which is very painful, by the way, but you need to do that because there are certain use cases that only a certain language can solve. So it's really a hard question when you ask, like, what is the best programming language? Because there's none. Like, all language has the pro and cons.
All right. Okay, we have 3 people are raising hand here. First one is, maybe I will let Jigme Pema Wangmo. You can ask Steffi.
Ma'am, it is necessary to have past experiences to be a computer science student?
Not at all. Not at all. So I also didn't have any experience. As I said, I have zero experience in programming. I just go to computer science field. I just choose that one because of a lot of advices from people, and then I learned everything from scratch when I studied. So totally fine if you don't have any experience in computer science.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then the next one is Namgai Chencho. Please. Namgai? No? Okay. I will let Ninda Omo to ask a question for Steffi. Ninda? No question? Okay. Maybe. Oh, all right. Ninda, please.
Ma'am, can you wait a minute, ma'am? Can I ask later, ma'am? Just now I'm busy.
Pardon? Can you repeat? What is your question? All right. Maybe we move on to the next question from the chat box. Do you think IT can make brighter future for the youth of the future? This question is from Jigme Kelzang Dorti.
Sure. I think it's already apparent nowadays if you read the news that IT can solve a lot of problems in the world, and also for youths. For example, we faced 3 years of pandemic, right? And a lot of this school activities, education needs to happen remotely. What it solves at the same time is that people who lives in remote area also get the access to the same level of education. So I think this is just one example of world problem that is solved through IT. I think there are more to be solved, and I think it becomes apparent. Why I think it's important for you to also consider is that the future, if you see the number of jobs these days, like job openings, a lot of the job openings requires you to at least able to work with software, or master in a certain software, or even a little bit of programming skills. So I myself face a lot of challenge in hiring the right data scientists, because people are sometimes coming from different backgrounds. From they studied psychology, they studied sociology, they studied different things, and they don't have. They know how to work with data. They learn statistics through their study, but they don't know programming, and that's something that is unfortunately a blocker for data scientists, because you need to be able to create your own script. So that is just one example, and obviously you need to do your own research, but there are a lot of jobs nowadays that requires a little bit of IT skills or programming skills, and sooner than later, there are probably less jobs that you can apply without having the IT skills. If you read a lot of news like Foresters or McKinsey report, BCG report, there are predictions about jobs that 65, if I'm not wrong, 65 million jobs in APAC, so Asia Pacific, will be replaced by automation, because there are already a lot of things that are automated this nowadays. So if you don't have the skill in computer science, you don't know how to operate or how to how the robot works and how to outsmart the robot, then it would be really hard for you to find jobs in the future.
Okay, thank you, Steffi. The next question, maybe this is related with your expertise. In machine learning, what do you learn?
Machine learning, you learn basically there are different algorithms. We call it machine learning algorithms. Basically, what it does is that computer or software is not dumb. They can learn themselves. If you try to implement a certain mathematical formula as a model, and you give an input for like a training model for training input, so training data for them, then so basically training means you give the input. This is the data that this program needs to work with, and then this is the output. So you also tell them this is the output, that this is how you're supposed to behave, right? And then this model, this program learns and it creates a model at the back. And basically, once you try to validate, you give like, okay, now let me test you. Do you understand what I mean, right? So let me test you, robot. Like, if I give this input, what will be your output? Okay, and if this validation works, that means you can already apply a different problem. So then you can really give them, okay, now I give you these hundreds or thousands of input. Please help me solve it. So then that becomes like the output, right? Why it becomes machine learning? Why we say that the computer is smart? Because during those times that you train, the model itself can behave, can learn and infer what it's supposed to learn, and then can solve a more complex problems. So, for example, you see a lot of this like social media or Instagram, yeah, or TikTok. You follow a certain profile or a certain keyword, and then they will suggest you a different people, a profile or account that are similar. This is basically a result of machine learning, because the system learns that this profile has this we call it features. This profile has certain features, and these features are something that the other profiles, so the profile that they suggested, also have. So then maybe this person is interested in fashion, for example. If I follow a certain fashion blogger and the machine learn, okay, maybe this person likes fashion, so let me give the user other profiles that has the fashion features, right? Oh, actually this person doesn't likes fashion but doesn't like bags, for example. Oh, then I recommend a lot of more clothes, and then they learn again, oh, okay, so they like clothes, but they like a specific clothes. It's like only female clothes, not the male clothes. Okay, then I give the female clothes more, and then this kind of thing. So they gradually learn from the inputs that are given, and then they create a better or a more specific suggestion. So this is essentially one of the example how machine learning works. There are many different things, obviously, but this is just one example.
Or maybe you can give an example of application that use machine learning, so that will be given them a better understanding about what machine learning do.
A lot of examples, a lot of applications use machine learning nowadays. So yeah, apart from social media that I mentioned, like Instagram or TikTok, right? They use like a recommendation system. Also, for example, iPhone has Siri, right? Virtual assistants or these chatbots, they are also machine learning actually, because they learn, okay, this user, the name is blah, blah, blah. This is the behavior. This is like the question that the person likes to learn or likes to ask, and then blah, 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 right? So this is one of the example. The other example, also when it comes to, for example, food delivery, we also learn about, oh, this is how the price fluctuated from one country, from one menu to the other. Sorry, from one week to the other week, or oh, if the season change, the user, for example, let's say, in Indonesia now it's maybe like a rainy season. I don't know, is it rainy season? Yeah, is it, if it's a rainy season, people like to order warm food. So maybe yeah, maybe I learned that, okay, this user likes to order every day at 5 p.m. Then I suggested, and then I, as a computer, we fetch, okay, this is the weather right now. It's like rainy, so maybe let me suggest a warm food at 5 p.m. So this person knows, okay, this is the time. This is the time you need to order. This is the food that we recommend, and then this kind of thing. The other example, I think there are many examples actually. For example, the financial like banking applications. A lot of them also already use machine learning at the back. Like they find the right features, or they find the right how to explain this. So a lot of instruments, a lot of financial instruments out there, and they need to choose. So as an investor, you need to choose the right instruments at the right time, and what is the yield, right? So machine learning helps to suggest, or to kind of like decide for you, even sometimes, like decide, okay, this is the right instrument for you to choose, so that you can get this percent of increase of yield or profit. Or if you are more like, I'm more into dividends than into yields. So, okay, then this is these are the instruments that you need to focus on, something like that. Yeah, so these are just some examples. I think there are a lot more also in the health industry. I'm not the expert of that, unfortunately. So yeah. Maya, you can also give some examples, right? Actually.
All right. I think we have a lot of question here. And I will pick the last two question, or maybe I can combine some question of them. The first one is, oh, we have here, ma'am, you look too young. Exactly at what age did you start learning coding, and what or who inspired you to computer science? And then have you ever regret your decision? And the second question is, all right, let me see the last one. What is Mastara based on?
Where is Mastara? Okay. Maybe that's easier for now. I start. So Mastara is based in Indonesia, because I'm Indonesian. I am currently 31 years old, so I'm not that young. And yeah, I started studying computer science from the bachelor. What influenced me back then is just full of imagination, I would say. At that time, there were no role model, because the field itself was still very new. But my role model appears when I joined when I start studying computer science, or when I joined the bachelor program, and then I saw, oh, there are actually a lot of professors, female professors. They're smart, and some of them are young, some of them are old, but they're still very bright in their mind. Like, for example, we have a professor that is already like 80 years old, but she took the stairs every day to our classes in the fifth floor, and she's still very healthy. She still drives herself from home to university, so she's very independent. At the same time, she's also teaching a subject that for me, it's like, people might think it's for nothing, but it's actually a very important basic for the future, for the future classes. So that's one of the role model that that drives me further. And then things like, oh, actually, when you read the news, there is this problem that is solved by this person. And then when I learn, okay, actually, computer is pioneered by Ada Lovelace, which is a female that invents one of the programming language. So yeah, so a lot of these things I discovered once I stepped into the computer science major, but I didn't have like a specific role model back then when I first started. Nowadays, I think there are a lot there you can find around there, people, women, female, that are working in computer science and can be your role models. So yeah, find those people. If you can, try to look for mentors, because mentors are really helpful to help you grow yourself, and to observe, and to pull you out of your doubts. So I started learning coding exactly at 20
18.
20 years.
It's
Yeah,
18.
18 years old, exactly.
Yeah.
18 years old. Yeah. Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, 18 years old when we started the bachelor. And then what was the follow-up question? Or did I answer all the questions? Sorry, there were a lot of
Have
questions.
you ever regret your decision?
Not at all. So I never regretted that. I think if I could say a regret, is that I didn't know I should have started earlier. That's more of a regret. But in terms of, do I regret joining computer science or learning programming? Not at all. Because as I mentioned at length, that there are a lot of problems that nowadays can be solved through programming. And I felt that I'm really lucky to be introduced to programming that early. Are there any more questions that I haven't answered?
I think I have one another interesting question related to Masara. What was your inspiration to start Masara, or what was the key factor that led you to founding Masara? And do you have any tips on how to build self-confidence, especially as a woman?
Sure. So Masara was founded by me and my friend. My friend, she has a sister who unfortunately need to get married at a young age, and then get out of the professional world, or not at all given the chance to go to professional work because of the issue that we mentioned, which is starting a family and so on. So she didn't have the equal opportunity to actually make use of her knowledge, and to build an independent life. So she unfortunately needs to count on the husband, or as the head of the family, to have a, let's say, financial means to support their life. So it started that way. And obviously there are many other examples in our day-to-day or near our lives that we see that female has a lot of potentials, but these potentials are being blocked because of life responsibilities, or because people have this stereotype, or because people don't believe in us, and so on, or just because people still, in some cultures, people still believe that female needs to be the one who stayed in the kitchen and not earn the living or earn the bread, right? So that remains the stereotype, and I think those were something that inspired us. That okay, you know what? The world has changed. Now it's different. So now, if now we as female, we also studied, and we even excelled, and we even like have the same let's say level of competitiveness with the male colleagues or with the male students, right? So why don't we also work? Why don't we also get the chance to build our own independent life, and basically even just not to even not to be like the primary breadwinner, even just to be to support our own lifestyle, so to say. That's already a good start, right? So that's how we decided to start a Mastaha. We wanted to make sure that all the women who has a potential, especially women who lives in the urban area, in the rural area, who usually didn't get opportunities to basically have their own confidence, that they can work on their own. They can also work as an employee, or they can find opportunities out there. They can find mentors to help them solve their issues, or to help them grow themselves. And so how to build the self-confidence is basically to speak with people who has same problem, or to speak with people who had the problem before, or to speak with inspiring people, to learn from inspiring people. And then you'll notice that, oh, actually I'm not doing that bad. Actually I'm doing good so far, and I should be proud of myself because I can do this in such circumstances. So when you start opening your eyes, or when you start talking to people, you realize that you're doing well, and you can do great, and you have the ability to do great. Or people who have the same experience as you, or people who had the same problem with you, they can get out of those problems. So why don't you as well? And that's how you start building your self-confidence, believing in yourself, try to uh, make your day better and better each day.
All right. Can we have one more question, Steffi?
Go ahead.
All right.
Sure.
We have here Tashi that is raising his hand. Tashi, please. Tashi? No question?
Tashi, you're still on mute.
All right. All right. Let's see if we still have any other question in the chat box. All right. I think almost all question have answered by Steffi. If you have any further question, maybe you can contact Steffi by yourself within the emails or
LinkedIn.
Or LinkedIn. And then I would like to thanks to Steffi because you already giving your time for this interview session of our trainings. And then And thank you for giving the very great motivation for our participant, especially for the women who are interested in IT field. And yeah, I think that's all for our session for today. So, and for the assignment of these trainings, the deadline is on Monday, 20, let me see, on September 26th, on Monday, right? You can upload all the assignment on the e-learning platform. So I think that's all for our training. Thank you for all the participants that are participated in this 10 sessions. I would like to say sorry if there is any mistakes from me and team. And thank you and see you on the next event maybe. Okay, before we close our session, I think it's better to take a photo session. Oh, a minute. Okay. All right, because it's if there is any other words from Steffi, we'll give you a chance.
Thanks, Maya. Thanks, everyone who attended this session. Thanks, Maya, for the opportunity. Also, thanks, team. Yeah, as I said, I'll be very happy to get in touch with all of you. In case you have any question, feel free to contact me via LinkedIn. Steffi Melinda, that's my name. And also feel free to also check out Mastara. We have Instagram account, which has a lot of information there about our programs. We have also LinkedIn and also website, mastara.com. So feel free to check that out. Also, if you are interested to know more about myself, feel free to connect on LinkedIn, write me a message, because if you don't write me, I don't know who you, how you know about me, and usually I don't accept the connection. But if you write me that, okay, you attended the session, I'll be happy to help you out or to support you or to answer your questions. And yeah, hopefully all the things that I shared today inspires you. If I made a mistake, I apologize. And if I somehow discriminate some of you, also I apologize. It was unintentional. And yeah, thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you, Steffi. And thank you everyone for attending this session. And don't forget to upload your assignment on the e-learning, and see you on the next event. So I will close this training. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Steffi.